Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Beef. We not only talk about everyday problems, we talk about everyday solutions.
Hey, Bob.
All right. Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Your brain is full. We just got done saying
There's
your brain
a lot
is
going
full.
on. There's a lot
I don't know what that
going on.
means. It means full of good stuff or bad stuff.
It's full of a lot of stuff. Good, bad, and different. The good news is the weather's beautiful.
Well, just like we said.
It's beautiful.
Just like we said. Not only beautiful, it's like summer, right? And that's why I went back to short sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
Just to make this point that we said last week we could have easily turned on our heat.
Yep.
Turned on our heat. Mm-hmm. And I won't do it as long as there's even the slightest chance that air conditioning comes back on. Mm-hmm. And this week, I've been running the air conditioning all week, right?
I've been heatless. But I couldn't turn them on if I wanted to. 'Cause it's still not fixed. But
yes.
Yeah,
We're going to follow this, by the way, because I know your buddy's not going to come.
He didn't come.
No, of course not.
Oh, no, he didn't come. And he told me he's not going to be able to get here until it gets cold. So I had to call someplace that I called yesterday.
Yeah.
And they haven't called me back.
See, this is what, and the
so
colder
this is
it gets.
The situation I'm in right now. Yeah, of course, it's going to become more and more. And I'm leaving this Saturday, so I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave my wife in a cold house.
Are you traveling for work? Is this your?
Oh no, this is my trip with my son.
Oh, the Las Vegas trip.
Yeah, we're going to Vegas, man.
Cool.
Yeah. We're going to Vegas
cool.
Saturday to Tuesday. We're going to see him play the Chiefs and probably get killed, but I love him nonetheless. I'm going to support him.
I know. They're not doing well.
Yeah, they're not. They're not doing great. But man, I got to tell you, like, I was online and I'm looking for tickets and I'm doing things. And there's certain sites where there's Raider fans selling to Raider fans to try to keep it in-house. Because now that we're in Vegas, it's not all Raiders fans, right? Everybody goes there for for sort of, it's a destination, right? It's a popular destination in Vegas. So I'm sure I'm going to see a lot of Red and Chiefs fans there or whatever. So there's some sites I go to that are just Raiders to Raiders. So they won't sell them to the opposing team. But, it's so awesome. Like, I've got invited to a couple tailgates. Like, come to my tailgate and this lot and this and that. I'm just
Plus
so
it's
pumped
Vegas.
for it. It's Vegas, so we'll have some fun on the off days. And on the days that we're there, and at the game and everything, we'll get started nice and early. 9 a.m., this guy sets up his tailgate. He says, come on by with your son. It'd be good to see you. I don't know these people. They live in Vegas in California. And, but they just come on. Yeah. They're just other Raider fans. So Raider fans love Raider fans. They'll probably feed me and we'll hang out and we'll just connect and we'll complain about how bad they are and we'll just be, whatever. But they usually have these big spreads of food and all sorts of stuff. And it's like, just come, I'll probably throw them a couple bucks just to help out, but they don't usually ask. You just go to their tailgate and they do it for whoever comes by.
Let me ask you. I mean,
it's awesome. Yeah. I'm so excited.
Is this something that Bob would ever do?
Never in a million years.
In a million years.
Never in a million years. You'd think that the food, something be wrong with the food, or this and that.
They're going to pull me into the tent, and then
no, man. It's a family out there,
Laced
man. It's
sausages. There's no chance.
No.
That's really.
But you
great,
wouldn't be
man.
a Raiders fan. You would have.
Listen, I like
Jets fan or something.
No, I don't really love football that much. I mean, I am a Jets fan if I have to be a New York team fan, but like I said, a Dolphins would be my team, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm not really big. I'm much more of a hockey fan, as we said, but I'm also a baseball fan and I'm a big Mets fan. And they let me down this
yeah, they did. I'm a Yankees fan, which is why I have my my Lou DiMaggio little thing up there. I had Mickey Mantle before. And who knows, maybe I'll do something next because, we're in the World Series and we're like you had anything to do with it. But, I'm supposed to be a Yankees fan because my entire family's from the Bronx, right? Yeah, that's crazy.
And I was born in the Bronx and, the whole 9 yards. But I don't know. I did most of my growing up in Long Island. And so my first game was a Mets game. And so I just became a Mets fan and an Islanders fan. But so I enjoy watching, but it's not, we're not really a fan, right? Because they make it to the very last round of the playoffs and, the championship game.
Right?
And then what's the last game of the last? It's like, is that really a fan? But I did enjoy it. I used
to be a diehard fan of the Yankees. Like I wouldn't miss a game, but that was back when I felt like things were more like baseball was baseball, right? It was dirty, it was gritty, it wasn't bought. You didn't buy teams. You had people coming up from the farm systems, coming in. Old Yankee Stadium. I go to new Yankee Stadium now, and it's very corporate, and it's bought out, and it doesn't feel the same, doesn't have the nostalgia. So I watch Yankee games when I can. I follow all the playoffs, and I'll follow all the World Series and stuff. My wife's the same. She used to actually work for the Oakland A's. That was her goal was to be actually an agent. She was going to be an agent. So she spent some time working in. She spent some time working in the business out there, and then she didn't like the inner workings of the business and how people were getting ahead. I'll leave it there, and things that were going on. And she's like, "I'm out of here. I'm doing something else."
Good for her. Good for her.
But she's a big baseball fan too. Is my point. Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it is what it used to be, but anyway, anyways, we better stop talking about this. I'll tell you why. I check in with my mom because she loves these shows. And every week, man, it's like, how's she doing? She just loves one better than she's doing great. She's doing great. But I asked her,
say hi, mom. Hi, mom, if you're watching. Hi, Mom.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you made it. So I asked her.
Did I make her upset?
No, not upset. Well, I asked her about one of these episodes because she's always like your biggest fan. James is the greatest.
Yeah. Oh God, it's
and no, I think it was the Raiders one. So after I asked her once, she was like, I said, "What'd you think of the last episode?" She goes, James is a lot with the football, isn't he?
Oh, okay.
Now realizing she raised two kids that are like not sports guys. Right?
Yeah, right.
So I'm like, well,
closest she came to a football is footsie. He slept with it.
That's the extent of my football childhood. So I was like, no, well, it's good. A lot of people like football. Oh, I know. I just didn't realize there's so much into it. So I was like, what does that make him a bad person? So no, she's tough. But then the next episode, you made up for it because when we talked about the medical stuff. Yeah, so you're
good.
You're back good. We made Italian mothers, they do this. Sometimes,
it depends on what's
one
going on.
Day you're just in the crapper.
Yeah, exactly. That's like my mother used to say, "You're my favorite today until you ruin it." Yeah,
my family was all about favorites, all about favorites.
Totally.
And you have been there till the football, and now you're back.
But as long as I earned it back again, we don't want to spend too much time on this. We
can't spend as much time as we want. I'll tell you why else, because this is what else we did. Remember last week I said I was going to bookmark. I'm using the wrong words.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Chapters, set of chapters in YouTube.
Yeah.
I went back and I did it for all of our episodes.
Oh, you did? Awesome.
And I'm doing it going forward. We'll see if it makes a difference because, 45 minutes is a lot. So I've, chopped it up not chopped it up, but, I've added chapters by the different subjects so people can scroll to where they want. If that, I'm going to see, I want to do whatever we can.
See if it makes a difference, right?
Yeah, we'll see. So that's there. So for anybody out there, you just go and check that out.
Check them out. Go back. If you just want to hit on some of the topics and not all of them, hit on.
And there's another thing that I wanted to say is that, so this has only been 20 something weeks. We've been just it's still a long time we've been keeping it up, but 6 months, let's say, right? It was about 6 months. But man, the difference between the first episode and where we are now, it really is amazing how things just improve. Everything just improves. Like the video, the audio, the subject, we're more comfortable. It's like watching a different show. It's really weird.
I have to go back and check out some of the older ones. Yeah. I like to go back in the archives to check out the real old ones sometimes. Those are sometimes fun. Yeah. Those are crazy. Like about 8.5 years ago when we kicked off this thing. We were sitting next to each other. I had a vest. I was sporting the vest at one point in time with the business coat.
Remember we went to Kohl's together to buy me a whole bunch of sports jackets so that I wouldn't wear the same. That was so funny. Oh man, those were fun days though. I did enjoy that.
Some fun stuff.
I enjoyed working, in the same company. We had a good time.
Sure, that was fun. Again, man, it'll happen.
It'll happen. Well, maybe sooner than you think. All right. So anyway, here we go. I had a kooky Bobism.
Give it to me. I love Bobisms. Part of your original goal was to become a personality, and boy, it's working. Bobisms are
they're crazy.
This one's awesome. They're awesome. These are great.
So now I go around my day and I'm things that are normal to me. I'm maybe because
maybe they're not normal to everyone.
Maybe they're not so normal to everyone. This one's a killer.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Even this one, I'm pretty sure is not normal even for me. Okay, so how do I start this? I'm going to use socks.
Okay.
Even though I might not be talking about socks, I might be talking about underpants. But we'll talk about socks.
We'll talk about socks. Yeah, I want to. You're very.
Go that crazy, right?
Your Bobism would mean that we'd have to cut it out if you said underwear.
So let's use socks. I just want to make it generic enough because I do this with lots of things. But let's start with socks. So I have different styles of socks. So you buy a thing of tube socks or whatever, especially in the wintertime, wearing jeans, I wear socks. And let's say I have 4 different colors of socks in total. Several pair of each color, but I have 4 different colors. Okay. So far, that's not that abnormal, right? That's how they sell them.
Yeah, it depends on the colors, but yeah, that's true. 4 different colors. We're talking dress socks, sports socks. What do we got here?
Well, no, these are like socks that I do wear with jeans. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if people do this anymore, but they're like what I used to call tube socks. Like
tube
regular
socks. Yeah. Most people don't unless they're. They don't wear tube socks. It's just
whatever
keep going with it.
Not the ones with the stripe at the top.
The red stripe. Oh, that's classic.
Those are classic.
Yeah.
You know what I used to do with those when I was, I don't know, maybe 12 or the style. Maybe I don't know if you had this, but on Long Island where I grew up, so we'd wear sweatpants, but you tuck the sweatpants into the tube socks. Did you ever do that?
Yeah, that was. It
was like a thing.
For sure, it was a thing.
And parachute
Not
pants.
Anymore.
That was another.
Parachute pants are great.
Parachute pants is another one.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
Skids,
but I digress.
All sorts of stuff. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm glad I'm using socks. All right. So 4 different shades of socks, mostly different shades of blue. So they're not like, we're not talking about like red and green and like crazy. We're talking about blue and light blue and medium blue and gray, right? Like these are my.
Sure.
Okay. We're not crazy yet. Here's where we get to the crazy part. So when I get dressed, I will pick a shade of sock based on what I'm doing that day. So I have...
What?
Yeah. So I have
a shade.
Like let's say,
not a quality, but a shade.
Like light blue, dark blue, medium blue, gray. Those are the 4. Let's just call it that, right?
Yes.
So my light blue socks are for the days I'm teaching classes. Okay.
Yeah, this isn't normal.
Okay. Then my dark blue socks are for weekends. Then my medium blue socks would be for days that I'm working but not teaching classes. And then my gray socks are things that I'm doing events, like not just lounging around something. And this is not normal, right?
No, not at all. This is not normal at all. Although I'd love to hear if this is normal. Like from my perspective, this is not normal. Like,
let's just not say.
But we're gonna dig into this though. We're gonna dig into this a little bit because I do have a lot of questions that just popped in my head.
It gets a little worse. Just a tiny bit worse. Well, so by the way, even if other people do it, it doesn't mean it's normal. It just means other people do it.
That's true.
but is it now? No, I want to preface this by saying if I wear the wrong shade sock for that day, it's not like going to kill me. It's not.
Do you notice in the middle of the day when you go back and change it?
No, I never do that.
Yeah, but how often do you wear the wrong shade of sock? You probably never do.
Not a lot, right? Yeah, I'd imagine if we were talking about underpants, it would be even worse. But we're talking about socks.
We're talking socks. Let's keep it socks. We'll keep it socks.
Yeah. So okay. So here's the one slight bit worse is to say you want to make sure that you balance this because you don't want to wear out one color and then So I've made sure that I understand. Like I teach maybe 80 days worth of classes, so 70 to 80 days worth of classes. That's about 25%. Then, weekends make up 100 days and maybe some portion of those are things that I'm working. So, you balance it. So I picked things that I'm balancing my sock load so that I don't wear one color out more than the other. That's pretty much the extent of it.
So
and
do
I'm
you
very
change your schedule based on your sock load?
No.
Or do you change
Don't
your
be
sock
ridiculous.
load? Change your sock load based on your schedule. Okay, good. Just making sure. It don't be ridiculous.
I always have enough. I mean,
this whole conversation is ridiculous. It don't be ridiculous, you said to me.
There's a specific type. But how is it different? I know the answer to this, but I'm just going to try and rationalize it in my head. How is it different than wearing a shirt for work? Like I'm not going to wear certain shirts for work, but I'll wear them for weekends. So no.
All right. Yeah, no, there's a big difference.
Go ahead.
I'll answer your question first. I've got some more questions for you on this one.
Please.
All right. So are they the same sock? Like you said, you gave me the example, like they came in the pack together.
Yes, I would never mix.
So
are
it's
you
not like
mad? I would never mix different brands of socks. That's crazy.
But let's get a little further. I'm going for function over form here. Okay. And I'm curious to know, this is, again, I was looking at rationalizing your decisions, but you're getting me nowhere.
Not letting you do it, yeah.
So if you're like on your feet more because you're training and you're standing or whatever, maybe you wear a different sock because it's got better cushion and you've got
not a bit.
It's color.
It's not even. It's not even showing. Like this is me.
It's not showing. It's not more comfortable.
Yeah. It's definitely not showing. Because again, if we weren't talking about socks, it would definitely not be showing. But we are.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And the comfort is not a decision on these either.
Comfort, no. They're the same sock, just different colors. Yep, different colors. And it does get a little worse.
Is there any superstition to this?
Well, this is what I think. Mm-hmm. No, but I think it stems from that.
Okay.
Because there's one. I don't know if this makes it crazier or less crazier. I'm guessing crazier. So
let's go with it.
The one that I picked for my workshops, for example, happens to be the same colors of my company. So that makes me feel good. Like I know that I'm representing under my clothes.
It gives you see, but that's all right. Pride. So that's on the surface, that's a little more crazy, but really thinking about it, maybe it's just the way that you get amped up, the way that you feel more like, listen, in this day and age, here we are, we're wearing the same clothes in a lot of ways we're doing. We're not going on office or wearing a suit. And maybe that's the way that you feel like this is my business day. This is my business attire. The one thing that changes is my socks, underwear.
Something to that, because when I work from home, like I do, right? I did learn that you need some discipline. Like I follow a schedule. I get up, I get dressed, and I do wear things during the week that are different than the weekend because I feel like I need to be ready to get on a call or things like that. But I think this has nothing to do with it. I mean,
no, I don't think there's any real rational answer to this.
It's OCD. It's OCD.
That's what it is. But it's still fun to talk about. I mean, I'm not making fun of people with, OCD, but this is great. This is interesting though.
It's not debilitating. It's not debilitating. Like if the color, I think people that have debilitating levels of this, if they found that color wasn't available, they wouldn't be able to do it. Wouldn't do it, or wouldn't get out of bed, or whatever it was. I think, right? So,
did you have any bad experiences from wearing the wrong color or anything like that? Okay, it's just purely.
Except there is a superstition. You talked about the superstition part.
Yeah, of course.
So let's say that I wear a certain color, and I have a good day. At work. Which I usually do, to be very honest with you. There's very few days that I'm like, this sucked, right? Yeah. So I have a good day. Then I'm like, must be because of the socks. I mean, I know that it really isn't, but there is a superstition element of it. Well, okay, I'm going to do that again, right? Because that worked out. Or there is, like when I talked about the medical testing, right? So that threw me all off, right? I'm like, what kind of socks do I wear for that? And I picked a color that was not working, because I figure, hey, I'm going to relax. So to be relaxed, I'm just going to be choose my weekend.
It's going to be a weekend one. That
exactly. And it worked, because it went and I got a good result. I'm like, that now is my MRI.
And it worked.
color.
And it worked. Thank goodness for your socks.
So I think, it's clearly OCD, but there's got to be some element of superstition. I mean, I guess superstition is probably founded in that too, right? Rooted in that. Probably.
I would assume it's part of it. Listen, I play baseball, right? I still play baseball to this day. 49 years old, because just had my birthday.
Still young.
But compared to people that are older, it's young,
me,
but not to my wife. I'm always older than her. But anywho, I play baseball, and I was very superstitious with things, and I still am today, right? So when I play on Sunday mornings and whatnot, I have a good game. Things go well. Maybe I don't wash certain things, or you'd never do that, of course. But, I wear the same T-shirt, or I do certain things. And for some reason, we believe that these things really make a difference, because if you change it, and you have a bad
then
game,
it's my fault.
If I just wore that shirt, or I just wore that thing, or that sock, or whatever, if I just didn't wash that thing, then maybe I would have had a great game, because we don't, necessarily want to blame
myself.
But
it's got to be. I'm cringing. I'm sweating literally listening to that. But it's got to be founded in what I said with the MRI. It's so you do something and you have a good result.
Yeah.
Like with baseball, you don't wash your clothes.
That's not the only thing, but yeah, it was something that we used to
bet.
do.
I got to.
Not all of them, it's just.
Yeah, just the ones that are important. Anyway, you don't wash your clothes. You have you pitch a no-hitter. And then you're a pitcher, aren't you? You pitcher?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm a pitcher.
Okay, so you pitch a no-hitter. Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Okay. So
had a perfect
then
game, actually. But.
You've had a perfect game?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you go. Yeah. So then the next time you'll be like, hey, I'm going to do whatever I did. I'm going to do again, right?
Exactly the same.
Get
up at the same time, eat the same thing, do the same routine, not wash the shirt, wear the same clothes, wear the same socks, do all that stuff. And then I go out and let a bait hits in the next game. Wash it up.
But then see, how crazy, this is how crazy humans are.
Because there could be one little thing I did different. Oh, I took 3 steps when I was walking off the mound versus 4. That's what did it. That's what did it.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. Like, now, a logical reaction to that would be, well, that had nothing to do with my stuff. So, but what we would actually do is say, hey, you know what? Maybe it's because I did this one little thing. So I'm going to try it all over again.
Yeah, of course.
Now I'm going to give you. Let's go back to life. Oh, people aren't going to like this, but it's true. It's true.
Talk to me, Goose.
This is vaccine, right? This is what happened with the vaccine. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get, deplatformed or whatever, but by deplatformed. You 7 people can't listen anymore. I'm sorry. We've suspended them for a week.
Be the most publicity we got if we got decommissioned.
Yeah. But it's happening to this day. Okay, so people are afraid of COVID. I get it. Vaccine is supposed to prevent you from getting COVID. So take the vaccine. It's going to prevent you from getting COVID. It didn't. So the natural reaction should be, okay, that didn't work. But what were people's reaction? What were people? Get more. Yeah, well, it didn't work, but maybe it kept me from dying.
Yeah.
Well, but that guy right there that took the vaccine, they didn't die. That guy right there that didn't take the vaccine, they didn't die either. So your logic there doesn't work. Yeah, but they might have, but they didn't. It's a hard thing, right? Like people can't shed their beliefs or I don't know, something, right?
But I think a lot of that turned into the conversation shifted to, I won't get it as bad as if I didn't have the vaccine, which is unprovable. Right.
Completely
it turned into something that, well, you'll never know because you now have the vaccine. So we'll never know how you would have got it or you did get it.
Correct.
So if your conversation goes to, well, I got it, heaven forbid, if I didn't get the vaccine, I would have got it even worse than I have it today. And I know people that have gotten it very bad. And again, I want to go out there and say that I was personally impacted by COVID, right? My father passed away with it. He was one of the first in the state in which I live in. So this is not something of not believing that was out. This is about the solutions that we came up with, that we put in our body, that we did, that weren't working. Yeah. And we didn't just admit it.
Right.
We didn't just admit it. People still got it and continued to get it. And, and that's that. And then we use this unprovable that's all there is to it. I don't know.
And I don't know
what else to say.
Yeah. Why did it become blasphemous?
Hope that there's not long-term negative impact for people that got it. I really wish the best for all of that stuff.
I do too.
I wish ill will. I want people to go into things with their eyes open.
Listen, I mean, I'm not wishing that. I know there were a lot of people you don't get the vaccine, you deserve to die. Come on. I mean, and I certainly don't feel that way. Clearly, I think people can pick up the fact that probably we were in that another camp, right? But at the end of the day, there's never a day in my life that I'm like, I can't wait for the vaccinated people to find out that they took poison. No, all I want to do is leave each other alone. But I think it's a healthy thing for humans to recognize what happened during that time. And it's still happening to this day. We were told, take the vaccine and you will not get COVID. That didn't happen, right? And so then the narrative shifted to, well, you just won't get it as bad, which exactly what you're saying is unprovable. So that was just a cover that we told ourselves because we couldn't admit that this was so wrong. It was ridiculous. It didn't work. And to this day, people are doing it. They're getting their boosters and they're getting their this and they're getting their that. And they're still getting COVID.
It's just become another piece, right? You see the flu shot and COVID vaccine and all these things. Now, when I see advertisements from my pharmacy now texts me. When I get those things, it's like, come get your COVID and flu vaccines. Come and get your COVID and flu vaccine. And I take the flu vaccine with the expectation that it will prevent me from getting the flu. And I believe it has. But I don't know. I don't take it now. Yeah. I took it in the past, but I don't know. Numbers declined, and we were able to see a substantial difference in regards to flu and people dying and things like that with the vaccine, which is a true measurement. And so that's why, and of course you do research on the flu and the impact of the flu and why do we take the vaccines, all those pieces, to each their own, right? But there was a data that was out there that showed that deaths and things like that to the flu had gone down.
I would go on that one more with things like smallpox or polio. Sure. I don't know that I agree with you on the flu because there's so many different strains of the flu, and I think it's become almost a running joke. You get your flu vaccine and you are almost going to get flu, and then what they tell you is that, because we picked the strains that we think are going to happen, but then another strain happened, and you're like, okay. So I don't know. I mean,
knock on wood, I've been fortunate because for years I haven't gotten it. I'm going to knock on my desk because I don't want it. Yeah. But I haven't gotten the vaccine. I haven't gotten the flu.
Me either. I've never
for
many
years. Thank
never
goodness.
Gotten either. But again, like maybe that one's a little more.
It's just different.
It's different. But like you take something like polio, right?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Okay, there was an effect to that. But that's what I think we expect of vaccines is that you take the vaccine, you are not going to get the illness. Right. That's what we were told with COVID. Yep. That clearly did not happen. Okay, but then why did it become evil to say that?
I don't know.
This is what I didn't understand. A good point. Right?
And I don't know why it's become evil to disagree with people or to feel like, because they've tied everything to, if you believe in that, if you don't believe in the vaccine, then you're just in this entire party of beliefs. Yeah. You're on this total radical side. We've grouped everybody. I guess my feeling is that we've kind of grouped everybody. There's like, don't like don't want the COVID vaccine, don't like this. Boom, you're all the way out here on this extremely red side of XYZ. Which so I ridiculous. Hate you. Yeah, and if you do believe in it, then you're on this blue side. You do this and that and this and that, and that's got nothing to do with it. Like individual thoughts, individual ideas. Yeah. We need to really hear people instead of just saying, if you believe in that, then you must believe in all this other stuff.
Yeah, stop putting scarlet letters on people.
That's got to be the reason. Yeah, for sure.
Ostracizing of people based on thoughts. Like anybody who thinks that we're a free-thinking country right now, it's like, you can think however you want. We're just going to ostracize you and take your job away and your career away and everything. So then I can't think whatever I want. Like, don't tell me that I can think and say whatever I want when the consequences are so incredibly great that of course the result is I can't think and say whatever I want. I give you an example of this.
You can think, just don't say it.
Okay, well, I don't even know if I can think it, right? I feel guilty about thinking. So, so this is a funny one. So they opened up. You might have seen it in a town like between us. They opened up a Trump store where the Boston market was. A Trump store, like literally a Trump souvenir store.
Like just
Trump
souvenir store?
Trump
Isn't that interesting?
He's killing it on merch.
Yeah, he is
selling lots of on the radio. There's like Trump sneakers and Trump watches and Trump this. The guy is a
capitalism at its best, right?
Hey, listen, whatever. So they open up this Trump store, and like I said, I think people probably have heard on this show enough that you and I seem to be no fans of anybody right now, right? But I think it's fun enough to go and check out what's in a Trump store.
Of course, right? You check it out.
I think it's great. So we're about to go in there. Now I wasn't actually with my family at the time. They're showing me pictures and stuff. They're like, we got to go here. Okay. So my wife was going to go in right to the store. My daughter would not go into the store. She would not get out of the car. And so I asked her later, I was like, why? I mean, you don't care about this stuff. Like you're not anti-Trump or anti this or that. She was afraid her friends, she was afraid that somebody would see her and she'd be ostracized. Now that's nothing dangerous. Short of criminal, right? That tells you the state of our country through our children's eyes. Now, here's a person who couldn't care less about politics necessarily, doesn't, say one way or another, so afraid that her friends would see her anywhere near a Trump store that the result would be she would be ostracized by her friends. That's to horrible. Me is horrible.
That is a horrible state in
now,
which
you
our
imagine not only
right
that,
now.
That's the complete opposite of everything we say we stand for as a country, right?
Yeah, totally opposite.
And I will say, like, if I've told you I'm an independent, right, for the most part, but I'm leaning red these days much more than blue because of this very thing, right? Because I think that side has demonized the other one to a point of poisoning people's minds, in my opinion, right? In my opinion. And where it becomes like, if you even support or say you support or say you think a certain way, then you are not allowed to, be my friend. I could never think of saying that. Like if you told me today that you were going to vote a certain way, it wouldn't affect our friendship. But yet that's what's happening at our kids' level. Yeah. Right? It's nuts.
I think it's absolutely crazy. I don't think it's one way from what I've seen too. It's also the demonization on the other side of different things. And so, I'm smack dab in the middle right now. Yeah. And quite honestly, I'm going to go with what I grew up knowing and believing and thinking. It ain't nobody's business who I vote for. I'm not going to post it on Facebook.
100% right.
I'm not going to let anybody know no matter where I go. Keep your mouth shut. That's my business. Religion and politics. Keep them quiet.
Correct. My personal business. That's right.
That is my business, right? Yep. Oh, you're not proud. It's my business. Don't worry about what I did and what I support and what I do. Anyways, where we are today, there's all of this, like even we mentioned it earlier around the fact that why are people so against, or they get so angry with, hey, I'm not taking the vaccine because if you want to know why, ask me. I'm not going to post about all of these things, but my decision, right? And it's my choice, right? So I'll just leave that there. But they put us in these camps. They put us in these two camps right now. Everything is a political camp. And it doesn't have to be. It shouldn't be. It's wrong.
It's the opposite of what we're supposed to be founded on.
So the people are saying that if she walked into that store, she would be a Trump supporter. And that means that she is anti this and anti that and anti certain people's rights and all of these things just because she walked into the store.
Not even walked in. There was a scene near it, right? And I'm sorry, I have to disagree with something, is that I do see it on both sides. The tearing each other down, I see from both sides. The demonization, I honestly, my personal experience is that it is very one-sided. I think that one side of the fence, which happens to be the blue side, right, is much more telling people that if you are on the other side, you can't play our reindeer games, right? Like you are an evil person, you are terrible this, you are terrible that, and you're ostracized. And I think that's become the norm. It happened with the vaccine. It's happening with Trump. It's happening with other things. My personal experience, I don't see it on the other side. Sure. I don't see people treating Harris supporters or, Democratic supporters that way. I don't see that ostracizing.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
I don't see that coming from the other side to the same extent. And I think it's because it's become so effective of a strategy, like just cause everybody to hate the other side. I don't know. My experience, I just don't see it happening equally in both directions personally.
Okay. Yeah. I hear you.
But you're a flaming liberal, so I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
Get out of here.
so I would expect nothing different
from you. I like my money more than the next guy, so don't go throwing labels at me, buddy.
I was just kidding. I have voted, I will tell you, I have voted both ways throughout my whole life.
Me too.
Depending on the candidate, right? Depending on the candidate, who I like as a candidate, what platforms I like, what personalities I like, those types of things. I really am truly in the middle. But right now, I just think we're in a bad place. I really do.
I agree. And I grew up in a Republican household, but that's just where I grew up in, right? It was the Reagan era, all that sort of things that were taking place. And that's just how I grew up. When I got the old enough to vote, I was 100% doing my own thing. I didn't feel like I had to do this or that. But the problem we have now isn't just the people ostracizing other people. It's only happening because we've created such a biased media that no matter if you're watching one, they're going to give you propaganda to say this about that one. Correct. If you're watching another channel, they're going to give you propaganda about the other one. What we used to have in a Meet the Press or other shows that used to be out there is, hey, here's the topic, here's a Republican, here's a Democrat, and maybe there's an independent. Let's talk about it. Why are those your views? And then they themselves may go after one another. But the person hosting was to stay in the middle, They were to stay in the middle and moderate. And that doesn't happen anymore.
Doesn't happen at all.
Depending on the channel you watch, it is the best way to say is it's propaganda to hate, to minimize, to sometimes demonize one side over the other. But it happens on both sides. And maybe the demonization piece, I can go with you and say maybe one really kind of, because sometimes things are said or done that really are
well, yeah,
or like whatever. They kind of put themselves in a spot.
Labeling a group of people racist, fascist, anti-women, those are heavy labels. From the other side, Agreed. What do you get? People get labeled as idiots, right? Okay, that's not great, but it's not like you're going to lose your job and your life over it. But I mean, that's what I mean by demonization. When you're saying, hey, if you support this side, you are those things. Mm-hmm. Those are heavy things to call people, right?
100%.
Those are not small, like kind of, slight insults. Those are like life-changing kind of labels, and they're not true. And that's what I mean. I think that has gone to a level that is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
But everybody's labeling others as a radical, right?
Yes.
So
extreme.
So there's extremes or radicals on either side. And if you were going to vote for Trump, then you must be the radical side, and vice versa. And if you vote for Harris, then you must be the radical side. In the meantime, you're telling us to vote. You're giving us this garbage can to vote from, right? And then you're saying, "Oh, go out and vote, go out and vote, go out and vote." Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to vote for Bob Caporale. I'm going to do a write-in. I'm going to write in for Bob Caporale for president. And then I voted. Yeah. I mean, people say, "Oh, that's a wasted vote." Either way, it's a waste. Like,
I know, because you're so right in what you're saying. Like, just because, I mean, maybe, and by the way, I don't think that they stand for these extreme platforms that the media says that they do. But even if they did, you can vote for one of them because you believe in something a little more than the other, because I only have these two choices, right? So you're right. But another interesting thing, what you say about the media, again, so true. I mean, the whole reason that freedom of the press exists is because it exists to keep our politicians honest. It's supposed to keep government honest.
Yes, that's right.
It's not supposed to be an arm of the corruption of government, which is what, of course, it's become,
totally
right?
Is.
And so when you do get to true independent media, and you could see some of that on YouTube, I watch religiously some of the shows on YouTube that are really and truly independent media, and you could see they're doing research, they're being unbiased, they're calling out both sides when they need to. That's what media is supposed to be, but mainstream media is not that anymore.
Not anymore. We got to recognize it. Please, we don't recognize it now, because there's still people that walk around, they'll hear one thing on here or one thing on there, and they'll go running with it, right? There was I'll give you a quick example of something that happened to me, right? I go to this place and I have this guy cut my hair, and he's been cutting my hair for the last, 34 years, since I was 15 years old, right? He has a picture of me in my junior prom standing next to an old school limo, right?
Wow,
and it's still in there, right? Old Italian barbershop. And great guy, right? Just absolutely love him. He's like a family member, right? Just amazing guy. So I go to see him the other day, right? And it was probably about 6 weeks ago, actually, when I first saw him. And he brought something up to me, and he's like, well, Harris wants to do all these things around, if you sell your house and putting a capital gains tax immediately on, any profit that you make. So just taking 25% from selling house. I'm like, that can't be true. I'm thinking to myself, there's no way you could just take 25% of the profit that someone makes, right? And go ahead and tax. Like, there's no way that this is real. Oh, no, I can't. So I can't vote for her because I don't want this tax. I don't want this. I don't want this. Trump will give me more money. So I leave and do what I do, research it. I'm like, let's find out what this is, right? Well, in the end, the tax they're talking about are for people that make over $100 million. Yeah. And my barber doesn't make over $100 million, first of all. And second of all, it's not a tax on any equity that you get. It's basically putting you in a tax range of a 25% on all your assets, even if they're not stolen, even if they're not sold, XYZ, yada, yada. It's very different is my point, right?
It's different than what people are. That's right. Yes.
And sometimes people run with these things.
No, not sometimes. All the time. Because the other
he wasn't going to vote. Right. He wasn't going to vote for the Harris side because he heard from someone somewhere that this was what she was trying to do. Yeah. And these things, he didn't look online. He didn't research it. He didn't do it. He just heard it and he said, I'm not going to do that.
Took a headline and that was it. But you know what? The politicians know that people do that and they throw it out there. Like here's another example from the other side. This, I don't know what it is, like this Agenda 2025 or whatever. You've probably heard of this every once in a while. Like it's some radical agenda that some conservative group came up with, right? And of course, right away, the left attributes it to Trump, right? Now, here's the interesting thing is that Trump does not support it. And in the debate, he said, because Harris called him out on it because it's a talking point, right? And in the debate, he said, that's not my plan. I don't support that plan, right? Okay, that's it. That means it's a lie. That means it is not true.
Yep.
I can't tell you the number of ads I have seen that have referenced this agenda that Trump has said it is not his agenda. And they say, Donald Trump is going to do this and that and the other thing because of this agenda and 2025 agenda. And I'm like, how do they get away with it? Like they're advertising something that is a clear and complete lie. He has already said to the world, this is not his agenda. And yet they still can put it out there as if it is. And at the end of the day, it's like, then people watch those commercials and they're like, and that's probably what happened with the capital gains thing, right?
Hey,
it's
like,
I'm sure it's the same thing, right? Yeah. Like on this side, on the other side, right? They said, Harris will do this. And meanwhile, it's completely out of context. And then people believe the soundbite.
Believe it, and that's it. But why are we such puppets? Like,
oh my God! Because we don't want it. Because we're lazy, man. We don't want to take the time to actually research what we hear, and quite honestly, it can be difficult as well.
Of course,
but I don't know if that's the root problem. Because I don't know if you're going to change that. But shouldn't then the people who are advertising based on that be held to account? Right?
Accountability.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, how can you allow that kind of lie to happen? It's clearly a lie if it's some soundbite taken out of context. It's the same thing as a lie. You know what the effect is going to be is that you're spreading an untruth. So like, why do we allow that? I
don't know.
If a company did that, we would say it's false advertising, right?
100%.
So why are politicians allowed to do this? It doesn't make any sense.
That's a good point, right? So it is false advertising. And I guess, part of it is like, how do we hold more people accountable for the messages that they're delivering? Because, and this is a media thing. This is everything. Like I could turn around and say, we need to do more research. We need to do more data. We need to do X. We need to do that. But at some point we got to roll that up and say, we got to deliver the right stuff, right? We know what's going on, and they know exactly what they're doing. There is a strategic plan.
Oh, 100%.
And if we, the people, don't right. as a whole come together, because listen, they like it this way, okay?
Yes, it's absolutely.
They like it this way.
This is the only way they win, because they're not winning on actual action. When do they take an action, right? When do they take an action? Like there's no action being taken. But we work towards solutions. We've kind of gotten a little bit away from solutions on the show. We always got some. You just got to find them. You just got to find them. The intro, right? Well, we not only talk about everyday problems, we talk about everyday problems.
Over and over
again. The same ones, in fact. No, this is a different one. But I think if we work towards a solution, here's one. Maybe we're not going to do all the research, but you know what? If you heard a soundbite and you don't know the source of it, shut up. Like, just like you said, you heard this from your barber. It didn't pass the sniff test. And even if it did pass the sniff test, you don't know where he got it from. So what did you do? You went home and you looked it up and you researched it. And then you said, okay, this is the real thing. But what you could have done is just taken what he said and spread it to somebody else.
Believe it. Yeah.
Right? And that's where the problem comes in. And I honestly think that a lot of these politicians are doing just that. They hear a soundbite from somebody and they just parrot it back out because there's no consequence.
Yeah, no consequence at all.
We've got to stop doing that.
Yeah.
We've got to stop doing that.
We've got to cut it off somewhere, right?
Yes, that's right.
And I'm going to add something else. We started this with the Trump store, right?
Yeah.
And
which I've got to go to.
And you totally have to go. Curiosity, we got to check it out, right?
Yeah.
But we've also got to teach our kids, and as parents, and as a society, and as a community, guys, let's not ostracize kids or each other or the society based on certain decisions. If we're going to go vote, we're going to vote. And maybe we got to go back to the point where we've got to keep it to ourselves. But there may be one little thing, one little reason that hits home that you're going to vote for this side or the other. Maybe you're voting for more of a policy based on the side than you are for the human that's choosing to represent it, right?
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
It's
but
okay.
Don't assume that you're all these things on this side. You must be this radical or extremist, and you're always this side. You believe in everything that they do on this side. Accept each other, guys. We've been doing this for years. For years. There has been, for the dawn of time, we've been voting for presidents and doing these different things, and we've got along just fine. But in the last 15 years, we're not. Right. And it's gotten to just an ugly place. That
I'll tell you this too. Don't talk about who you voted for, but let's just say everyone in my immediate family did not vote for the same person, right? And okay, it's about as deep as that. I did try to seek to understand, like, why did you do that? What was your reasoning? And they try to understand mine, whatever else. And that's it. It's like, why? Because we live with each other and we love each other and we care about each other and we actually talk to one another. Maybe we should do that with each other.
Maybe we should learn to communicate a little bit better.
It's not that big of a deal. People have different views, right? You don't have to disagree with it, but it doesn't mean that they're evil or terrible. And I'll say one other thing too that you said was really interesting. You said, I grew up in a Republican household. I don't know what household I grew up in.
Good for you.
I have no idea. I say good for my parents, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's great.
No idea.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was a darn good childhood.
And I will tell you this: I grew up in a certain household. My mother was a teacher her whole life, and my father worked corporate. And this was kind of where they were. That I remember. Yeah. But they still felt free to switch. And before my father passed away, and to this day, they changed who they voted for. They voted for Democratic people as well, and they still had the flexibility. I just remember the conversations when I was younger at the table on what they believed in. But as time went on, and they saw who was running, the things that were important to them, they switched parties. They voted. They didn't just vote Republican because. It's okay. It's okay. Like, if you find things, do the research, understand, learn.
People aren't
evil. And if you choose it, and respect that people aren't always going to agree with you. Healthy conversation is so important. And it's just... And
what you said is I think, so great. You said it so much better than I could in my fervor here. I got the wrong socks on is the problem.
Yeah. Socks.
Think about how we went from socks to this. I don't know, but
both two stinky topics.
Oh boy, we better end there. Honestly, that has made me lose my train of thought.
You're welcome.
No, yeah, thank you. No, I was going to say that what you said was so great that if you vote for Trump or you vote for Harris, maybe it's not that you agree with everything about those people. It's that you agree with something. And that's okay, right? And if you did agree with everything, that's okay too. Like, there's no reason that we have to hate each other. I just don't. That's not what we're about.
Right.
So anyway, kumbaya. Exactly. That's the way it should go, I think. And
Agreed.
So all right, there it is. Right.
Yeah. There you go.
I had other things I was going to talk about.
I don't know. We started off with a little bit of baseball. Went to some socks,
vaccines,
and went to some vaccines and then politics.
And you know where I'm going to go? I'm going to take my daughter to that Trump store.
Is she even old enough to vote? By the way.
She is now.
She's not today.
Today, yours too, right? Don't you have a daughter? Yeah,
my daughter's birthday today as well. Yeah. Happy birthday, Liv. And
so yes, yeah. So that's definitely she is old enough now, but I don't know that she's going to. If she does, I'm going to take her to the Trump store first. That way she could see.
Really make it count. You know what I mean? Really make it count.
Just take a look. See what you think.
See what you
browse
like,
around.
Whatever.
If you like
you
anything,
want to vote for, and if you want some things,
because that's probably what she's going to make her decision on. Like, he sold me a really good watch.
Yeah. That Trump pencil sharpener was really nice.
I'm going, man. I'm buying something, and I'm bringing it on this show just to show people that it's okay. You know, you're not going to die if you walk in a Trump store. It's absolutely all right.
It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, I guess that's a good way to wrap it up. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Again, like, subscribe, comment, tell us what you think. And don't forget to spread the word, tell your friends, and love each other, man. Election day is coming up. It doesn't matter who you vote for. You're still a good person. We still love you no matter who you vote for. And I hope you could say the same about us. Okay. All right. So that's it. So sweet. Awesome. So while you're doing all that stuff and thinking about how much we love you, we can't wait to see you back here on another episode of
Beyond the Beef.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thanks, guys.